So let's talk about a paradox. How can a sport that's all about fighting actually be one of the best ways to find mental peace? It sounds totally backwards, right? But for a lot of people, the boxing gym is the quietest place on earth.
And let's be real, this is what most of us see. You look at a boxing match and it's pure chaos, the absolute peak of stress and aggression. It feels like the last place you'd ever go to try and calm down an anxious mind.
So, yeah, that's the big question we're digging into. How does a high intensity, super physical sport like this actually work to lower anxiety and bring some clarity to your head? Let's get into it. To really understand this, we've got to look at what's happening in both your body and your brain. And trust me, it's not magic, it's pretty fascinating science. Okay, first up, let's talk biology. Because anxiety, it's not just a thought, it's a physical thing happening in your body. And boxing gives it a very direct, very physical solution. So our bodies are hardwired with this ancient fight or flight response. Back in the day, if you saw a predator, your body would just flood with adrenaline and cortisol, getting you ready to either fight for your life or run like crazy. Here's the problem. Modern threats, like a deadline at work, drama on social media, money worries, they trigger the exact same chemical dump. But we don't fight our email inbox, right? We don't flee from a math test. We just sit there, stewing in all those stress hormones with nowhere for the energy to go. And this is where boxing comes in. It finally gives that fight response a job to do. Hitting a heavy bag is this incredible, healthy outlet that lets your body physically burn through those stress hormones and, complete the cycle. Plus, that intense workout triggers a huge rush of endorphins and dopamine, your brain's natural feel-good chemicals, which basically tells your entire nervous system, okay, the danger's gone, we can relax now. So we've covered the body, but the mental side of this is just as powerful, if not more so. And hey, if you've ever tried to meditate and just couldn't shut your brain up, this next part is definitely for you. Boxing is a form of what's called active mindfulness. It's this state of being completely in the moment, not by sitting still, but by moving with such intense focus that the activity itself forces all that internal chatter to just go quiet. Think about it like this. Traditional meditation asks you to sit and observe your thoughts. But if your mind is already racing with anxiety, that can feel like just turning up the volume on the noise. Boxing does the exact opposite. You literally can't worry about that thing you said yesterday when you're trying to remember a combination and move your feet. Your thoughts are silenced, not because you're trying to silence them, but out of pure necessity. And the result of that total focus is this incredible psychological flow state. It's this amazing break from your own worried mind, where for a little while, nothing else exists but what you're doing right then and there. Okay, but what about the aggression, the violence of it all? There's this common fear that if you teach someone to punch, you're just making them more violent. But the reality is actually the complete opposite. The heavy bag is the perfect metaphor here. It's a safe place to put everything, your frustration, your anger, your fear. It can take everything you throw at it, and it never hits back. It never judges. It teaches you that it's okay to feel those things. But here is the most important lesson you learn, and you learn it fast. Just swinging with blind rage gets you absolutely nowhere except exhausted. To actually be good at boxing, you have to take that fire, that anger, and channel it into focus, into technique. You have to breathe. You have to think. You are literally learning emotional regulation in real time, and that is a skill that is priceless outside of the ring.
So, boxing helps us process stress, focus our mind, and control our emotions. But it also builds this deeper, more resilient sense of self through two final key pieces: structure and confidence.
Anxiety thrives on uncertainty and chaos, right? Well, the boxing gym is the total antidote to that. The bell rings, you start. The bell rings, you stop. 3 minutes of work, 1 minute of rest. It's predictable, it's reliable. And for someone whose life might feel totally out of control, this rigid structure feels incredibly safe. It's a sanctuary where you always know the rules. And all of this hard work builds a really crucial psychological trait called self-efficacy. Now, this isn't just about feeling good about yourself. It's a deep, fundamental belief that you can handle whatever life decides to throw at you. We all know that little voice, don't we? That internal voice of anxiety. It's that whisper that tells you you're going to fail, that the challenge is way too big, that you just don't have what it takes. But boxing provides cold, hard proof to shut that voice down. Every single time you push through a round you were sure you couldn't finish, every time you finally nail a combination that felt impossible, you're building a library of evidence. It's not about someone else telling you you're strong. It's about knowing you are, because you just proved it to yourself, beyond any doubt. So when you put all these pieces together, the physical, the mental, the emotional, it becomes so clear that boxing is way more than just a workout. For a lot of people, it's a complete system for managing their mental health. You've got the physical release that actually completes the body's stress cycle. You've got the intense mental focus that acts like a moving meditation. It teaches you emotional control, channeling that fire into technique. It builds real, proven resilience, that self-efficacy we talked about. And, just being part of a gym helps fight the isolation that so often goes hand in hand with anxiety. You become part of a community. Ultimately, it really does come down to this powerful idea. The physical and the mental are just so deeply connected. The hard work, the effort, the sweat, it's a literal and metaphorical release of all that weight you've been carrying around. So, it turns out the path to a calmer mind isn't always quiet. It isn't always still. Sometimes it's about learning how to fight back, literally. And that leaves us with one last thought. If something like boxing can be this therapeutic, what other powerful, unconventional tools for our own well-being are just hiding out there in plain sight?